This video is for OCR GCSE Business Studies and it's looking at paper 1 and it's looking at text 3 and the 9 marker. But the 9 marker which asks you to refer to the data. So let me give you an example. With this question we've got to evaluate with reference to the data in text 3 whether internal recruitment is the best method to use to fill the position of marketing manager. So unlike a 7 marker, a 9 marker will assess your AO1A and your AO1B. So in other words, you can get 2 marks to just for showing knowledge and understanding. So how do you show knowledge? Well, my advice would be, and my recommendation would be, at the very start of your answer, in the very first sentence, just define the key concept. So what's the key concept in this question? Well, it's internal recruitment. So I literally start my answer off with job vacancies are filled by recruiting someone from the current workforce only. And you should get your AO1A from that and get 1 mark. Now your AO1B is for showing understanding throughout your answer. So the mark scheme says you can show understanding by just highlighting positive and negative features of internal recruitment, but you could also look at the alternatives. So what's the alternative to internal? It's going to be external recruitment. Now the big difference with this question, and not all 9 markers are like this, however OCR seems to be using this question more and more in paper 1, is with the reference to the data. So how do you attempt this type of question with AO2? Well, remember that application is worth 2 marks in this question. And when it's asking you to refer to the data, it does actually want you to do a little bit more than that. It wants you to manipulate the data. So in other words, use the data and calculate the data to find evidence to support your analysis. So let me give you an example. The case studies will differ. Some case studies are very nice and give you clear data. So this one, it's lovely because it gives you figure 1, which is a graph for sales revenue and net profit from 2017 to 19. So what I can do is I can carry out some calculations. I won't need to do all of these. You decide what you think is important. And obviously you're basing it on whatever your analytical argument will be because it's being used as evidence. What I've done is I've just quickly shown you some examples. So there's been a £260,000 reduction in turnover. There's been a £75,000 reduction in net profit. Turnover has fallen in the 3 years by 33.3%, whilst profit has fallen by 30%. So whatever you use of that, it just has to obviously fit with your analysis. But because application is worth 2 marks, what you'll have to do is you'll have to make sure that you use the data across both arguments. And because it's a 9 marker and it's asking you to make a decision, you need a balanced argument. So you're going to need 2 analytical arguments and you need to use the data in both of them. So again, I said this case study is nice, and it is because it's giving you a table 1 as well. So not only do you have a figure 1 of a graph, but you've also got a table 1, and within it you've got cost of recruitment, number of days taken to fill a job, and cost of induction. So again, how could you use the data? Lots of different ways. Again, you don't have to use them all, but there's a £2,000 difference in the cost of recruitment, 40 days less to fill the job, £1,300 cheaper for the cost of induction. And all these figures are quite easy to quickly calculate. You just have to be in the position that you know you have to calculate so you don't hesitate and you're productive with the data. So actually the total cost of recruitment for external is £4,000, whilst the total cost of recruitment for internal is £700. So that is quite a significant difference, and that's a difference of £3,300. But what you might want to think about is, what does that £3,300 mean with reference to their total costs and their current profit? So what I might think about doing in my evaluation is I might start to think about, okay, well, what was my total costs in 2019? And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to subtract 175,000 from my 520,000, and that'll tell me what my total costs are. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll think about, okay, well, how much is that £4,000 in comparison? Is it going to increase total cost dramatically or not by a lot? And that's where you start placing weight on your evaluation. So anyway, the next skill is AO3A, which is your analysis. And again, it's worth 2 marks. So you're going to get 1 for each argument built. And what you need to do is you need to think about the impact and try and make your analysis technical. Use that key terminology. Now, what I recommend and I'm starting to advise more to my students is think about the objectives of the company. So I'll give you an example here. One reason why internal recruitment might not be the right option is due to current performance. Profit has fallen by 30%, mostly due to a reduction of turnover by 260,000, and this might suggest that current workers are not performing. If they externally recruit, it might introduce new ideas, helping to generate sales, as quality might improve, helping to regain their previous reputation. Now, this company, and it says this in the case study, that they grew on a reputation of quality, but unfortunately in recent years it's been lost. So therefore, by getting new ideas in, hopefully it'll improve that quality and it'll generate sales, and that's my impact, and that's my analytical chain. I've got AO1B because I've started to think about my understanding of what the alternative is with external recruitment. I've got my AO2 because I've been looking at profit falling by 30% and turnover by 260,000, so I've used the data. So at the moment, if I've had my definition, I've shown my understanding, I've used the data, I should be on 4 marks so far. So now what I need to do is I need to bring in my counter argument or my balance. So what I've got here is one reason why internal recruitment should be used is because it's cheaper. So external recruitment is £3,300 more expensive in total, including induction and recruitment. The company is currently struggling with financial performance, which is a primary objective, and therefore appointing a manager experienced to the company at a lower cost might help to reduce future total costs. So again, what I'm thinking about now is I'm thinking about their current objectives. I've got my AO2 because I've talked about external recruitment being £3,300 more expensive. I've got my analysis because I'm thinking about impact. So far, I've got 6 marks. So now I need to get my final 3 marks, and that will come from my evaluation. So my evaluation, AO3B, is worth the most amount of marks. So make sure that you give it the attention it deserves. You have to offer a final judgment, and if you offer simply a final judgment, you will get 1 mark. So as I put here, in evaluation, I believe that external recruitment should be chosen. I'm going to get 1 mark. And it doesn't actually matter which option you choose as long as it's justified. So as I've put here, as it might offer a better applicant pool. So always try and compare it with the alternative, because then what it does, it starts to place weight as to why you think this one is more important than the alternative, the other option. So in other words, what I'm saying is I think internal recruitment is the wrong option. So customer service and quality is suffering. Jessie has proposals to organically grow into new markets, and to do this, she needs experience in children's shoes. So it tells you in the case study that another children's shoes company it's closed recently, so it's made redundancies. So that would be a prime example. It's applied as well, and the cost will only increase current total cost by 1.2%. I mean, that's nothing. That's tiny amounts, especially if the revenue generated justifies it. So again, what I've done is I've placed weight, and I've also added more evaluation to my previous analysis or my previous analytical argument when I did address total costs. And that would get me my 3 marks.